we all understand the type of climate that we're dealing with. We're dealing with multiple offer situations.
I'd love to know sort of what's your why? What makes you tick? Why are you so successful?
Have a dialogue with your lawyer. Have a dialogue with your agent.
Both sort of passionate about sort of what we do.
Again, vet your agent to make sure that they're experienced and they're local. I like that idea.
No excuse to miss it on Saturdays from 8 to 9.
That's right.
WBZ.
And now, the show that gives you the latest and most relevant housing market news. Real Estate Radio Boston with financial expert Rick Shearer and legal professional Ali Alavi.
So what's going on? How was this past week for you?
Past week was great. We just the market rates ticked up a little bit, but we're starting seeing, and I actually just wrote an article about it, comparing this same time last year to this year. And last year we've talked about it multiple times. There was sort of a standstill with the polar vortex. We talked about a polar vortex, but we also had a 4.75 interest rate at that point in time.
Right.
And, this same time this year, my business is up 65% on purchases.
Yeah.
And this has nothing to do with refis. This is just purchase business. And yet we've had 7 feet of snow. So why is that? And I think a lot has to do with interest rate. 1%, I did this in the article, 1% in interest rate on for someone that has a $2,000 monthly payment, comfortable monthly payment, it bought them an extra $51,000.
That's amazing. The
Just
impact on buying power. It's crazy.
If you're in a business where you sell widgets and you just want something online, you don't care where you're getting it from, maybe shipping is a concern or a certain color of an item, you just want to get it. But if you're in a business where you have a real emotional connection to the person that you might be buying from, especially when it relates to your home or your family, people really, they're buying you. So your website really needs to be a reflection of you, whether it's confidence, your involvement in the community, achievements you've made. People kind of take that all in. Even if they know you, they want to make the right decision, especially if it's a big financial investment or if it's an emotional investment, either in themselves or their family.
I would have never actually thought about that. I mean, I know you sort of call it emotional imagery, and you portray that emotional imagery. I mean, Rick and I, we were talking about it during the break in terms of this new website that Rick has, and you were talking about how it exudes who he is. And I jokingly said, what? The Patriots, the Red Sox? And that's exactly what essentially you've created through this website is, a confident, trusting professional that has passion and compassion. And I think that comes out through the website. And I think I would have never actually thought about it, to be honest with you. That's amazing.
That's why Dale does it.
Right. So there is a process you go through, though. I mean, this doesn't come easy. It's a process of getting to know who the business owner is, understanding what their basic principles are, and then you help them.
Right. So when Rick and I sat down, I ask a lot of the same questions to everybody. Who's coming to the site? What types of people? People you know, people you don't know, referrals? What are their attitudes about you? Do they think there's a million people like you? Do they think you're the only solution? Are they searching around? We need to grab their attention within 5 to 10 seconds with a variety of messages that capture all of those audiences. We got about 5 or 10 seconds to really draw them in and get them hooked. Mm-hmm. Press a button, call a phone number, give some more information, click to the next page, something.
So tell us about this new case law. What is it? What sort of principle does it stand for, and what's the take-home message, really?
Yeah, interesting case that came out a week or so ago, and timely because of the spring is going to be a really active situation for home contracting, given the snow and ice damage. But so under the law, home improvement contractors need to be registered and licensed with the state. It's a fairly new requirement, about 10 years old. Most are, but some aren't. And in this particular case, there was a dispute between the contractor and the homeowner over money, of course. And it turns out that the contractor was not registered with the state, and he did not inform the homeowner of that fact. And he actually tried to have the homeowner sign an affidavit basically saying, I'm not going to sue you for anything that happens on this project, which I think that was the major red flag that got the judge quite upset.
Right.
So and this case wasn't about a lot of money, even though it went to trial. But the judge basically said that, well, if you're not going to register with the state, and therefore the homeowner cannot take advantage of the state arbitration program, which would have resolved the case out of court, and also there's a guarantee fund that could reimburse him for damages, then I'm going to expose you to liability under the Consumer Protection Act, which carries substantial penalties, as you guys know, triple damages.
Let's put that in perspective, Rich, so just for the listeners, because I don't think a lot of the listeners may even be familiar with what the Consumer Protection Act is. Just give us a 10,000-foot sort of broad overview of what that is.
Sure. The Consumer Protection Act is basically a law in Massachusetts that protects consumers in every different type of category. It could be, home contracting, it could be real estate, it could be retail. Basically, it says that businesses can't be unfair and deceptive to consumers, and if they are, and it comes under the law, and there's so many different categories and the Attorney General's regulations, then the homeowner can get up to triple damages and penalties, and also have their attorney's fees reimbursed.